Yo, what's good everybody? You got Sketch here and welcome back to the channel. And on today's episode we're looking at one of the Toaplan shoot-em-ups that didn't make it stateside initially, but the opening cutscene will be one of the earliest examples of viral memes with its English translation. All your base are belong to us. We're talking about Zero Wing, developed by Toaplan and published by Namco for the Japanese arcade and Williams for the arcades in the US, releasing in 1989 and getting a port to the Sega Mega Drive in 1991. The North American region recently got a reissue through Retrobit earlier this year, which was part of a collection for their Genesis shoot-em-ups, with this being Zero Wing's first official console release in North America. In similar vein of Toaplan's Hellfire, it's going to make you work to survive the 8 stages. Before we start the show, let's check out the story real quick. What you say? In the year 2101, the Milky Way Federation has made a pact with the neighboring cyborg space pirates led by Cats to keep it cool as they work on expanding their bases further into the galaxy. For a few years, things are fine. And then the pirates return with Cats at the helm of the assault. The 10-11 star cruiser is attacked and nearly every ship and personnel is lost, except one, the Zig Starfighter. Trent boards the last ship and narrowly escapes and is now out to stop Cats and reclaim their bases while carving through hordes of space pirates. You've got 8 stages ahead and the enemy is fierce. Now battle for great justice. Gameplay wise, you've got a 2D horizontal shoot 'em up that even from the rip will keep you on your toes. Through the game's 8 stages, even the opening level can body you quickly, but you've got speed power-ups and 3 weapons to assist you on your mission. The Vulcan Cannon, homing shot, and laser upgrades will help you not become space junk, which you can power up several times by grabbing the same color icon. You also get 2 options that double your firepower, which can also pull smaller objects to your craft as a temporary shield or toss as an extra projectile bomb. Once maxed out, your Zig will put the Zaza on their galactic ops. Through the game's 8 stages, even early on it's going to be challenging, and with single hit deaths you'll be seeing in the beginning and checkpoint sections of stages often, since your enemy doesn't waste much time before throwing out the heavy artillery. Your craft is fairly nimble, so worst case you can dodge out of a good handful of situations, and cycling through the available weapon upgrades and types will make parts of stages a bit more manageable. There's also speed upgrades which can make you move even faster, so depending on reflexes, results might vary on those higher speeds, but 2 or 3 of them felt pretty snappy. Each stage has an end boss encounter, and a few of these can be a bit tricky, especially on the back end of the game. Several stages also have mid bosses to deal with, which can also pose a challenge until you figure out the best approach. The boss fights, especially towards the middle of the game, will certainly make you work for them, figuring out each attack and fire pattern they'll send at you. The homing shots decimate just about everything on screen, even more so when it's upgraded, though all the weapons come in clutch, so any option is viable here. Besides the boss encounters, stages 5 and beyond just get much tighter in general, with lanes on the levels that require precise navigation or you'll get smoked by various obstacles or enemies that spawn in. These sections also have more of a Gradius feel to them, which is also pretty interesting. The more cavern style levels also have tons more flying enemies as well as turret enemies, so this is one of the main difficulty spikes with just how much is happening on screen. Playing on normal or above imposes a credit stock of 10, but is set to free play on easy mode, which is still quite challenging. Graphics wise, Zero Wing looks pretty sick with a style that blends the designs of Truxton and Hellfire. This and Hellfire also were programmed with the same engine, which makes sense as to why they feel so similar. Backgrounds and character sprites are all highly detailed and got a fair amount of animation compared to its arcade counterpart. Each stage uses parallax scrolling, and the backgrounds and foregrounds are all colorful as you blast through the ranks of space pirates. Enemy designs here also have a similar aesthetic to Truxton, which featured several members of their production team mixed in with that slight Gradius feel I mentioned earlier. You'll get a lot of mechanical and biomechanical foes throughout the game, and they all look pretty good. The majors and boss designs in particular have a few standouts as well, which are often massive biocrafts and hulking machinery. The final boss, X-Head, looks like something that could pass for a Creator album cover, so designs are pretty killer in spots here, to be fair. The opening cutscene is also pretty sick with some really slick animation and character art as they bring you up to speed on how everything got to this point. The opening scene is also where the long-running meme was also spawned from, and with the recent reissue, they kept the intro intact in all its glory. It's got a similar vibe to opening scenes from the Valis games and Technosoft titles, which often look pretty dope. Here was no different with a hype opening scene, setting the tune for what's to come. Stages are also varied, having you fly through several different environments like the outer reaches of space, the inner guts of space stations, and even some lush green planets with a lot of vegetation. The color palettes and level of detail all look pretty good here as well, and there's often a lot happening on screen. Between the enemies and the level elements themselves, it's all fairly easy on the eyes and pops with its visual style. Sound-wise, it's also cooking with a solid soundtrack headed by Masahiro Yuge, who would later go on to form Tatsujin, which is the company that currently owns the rights to this along with several other franchises on the Toaplan library. The music, even from the intro cutscene, comes in hype from the jump and has some straight up belters as we go through the game. The tracks for stages 3, 5, 7, and 8 were standouts that slapped something fierce. Sound effects are also pretty good here as well, with some crunchy audio with each space pirate deleted. The boss explosions sometimes don't seem quite as loud as the smaller adds and majors, but overall the boom does have quite a bit of bass here. Stage 7, however, does have some strange audio glitches that when firing it sounds like hitting dead keys on a piano or a broken xylophone. It's a weird thing to notice, but it's there for whatever reason. Strange enough, know if this is the only stage where this happened too, so maybe it's just an isolated glitch, or maybe the cart was dirty. Otherwise, Zero Wing's audio, for the most part, is pretty decent despite a couple of wonky moments. There's also a couple regional and gameplay changes which alter a few things from the arcade version and the home ports. The arcade version gave players the option of running the game co-op, which was removed for the home port, and depending on region release, your craft will immediately respawn after losing a stock instead of going back to a checkpoint. The reissue also features 30 possible endings, so replay value is definitely there if you want to go for multiple clears. Overall, Zero Wing is an awesome addition to the Toaplan shoot 'em up catalog. While it's widely known due to its English translation, which led to the meme that brought attention back to the years later, Zero Wing is a fairly solid shoot 'em up that will serve up a hefty challenge for days. With 30 possible endings to shoot for, there's a good bit to see here, especially on the higher difficulty settings. There's going to be parts where you're going to hit a wall, but once you get more comfortable with it, you should be cruising in no time. Zero Wing gets an 8 out of 10 and comes recommended to horizontal shoot 'em up fans and fans of the Toaplan catalog, considering this is the first official release of it for the North American market. There's a lot to chew on here, and if you can find the US version for a good price, go for it, since it has increased substantially since release. Otherwise, the PAL and Japanese Mega Drive versions are quite a bit cheaper, so if you're interested, play this one however you can. The arcade machines are also a lot of fun if your local arcade has a cabinet of it. And I thank you again for checking out this video. If you find these videos helpful, that's awesome. I'm glad you can use it as a resource. Check back often, we'll have more reviews and commentaries coming up in the near future. But until then, take it easy and stay safe out there. I'll see you on the next one.